And that was when I read the article with Vinny DeBona, who was the producer of America's Funniest Home Videos, about how America's Funniest Home Videos was a $500 million syndication business. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to make the cool version of America's Funniest Home Videos. And that at the time we created it, it was called Money Shot, because we were going to have it be connected to winning money. And then Shane was like, why don't you call it something that you say all the time? And I'm like, okay, well, what do I say? He's like, you should call it Ridiculousness. You always say this is ridiculousness, you know? And I'm like, all right, let's call it that then. And then MTV picked up Ridiculousness back then while we were shooting Robin Big, but I would have gotten $35,000 an episode to shoot it. And they wanted to shoot a pilot, but then they offered me $125,000 an episode to either shoot season 4 of Robin Big or create my own show.
Okay.
And so, man, I was like, I spent this weekend of like, you know, like I'm afraid to do a new show, because it's like, it's just going to be compared to Robin Big, and what if it doesn't work, and that sort of like, you know,
you already have a winning formula over here.
Yeah, and it's like, you already know how this feels, like that's so much money, like can you just go get this money, like but you and him aren't even talking, like can you even do it? And I just like made the decision one Saturday morning, like you've got to take the shot, like, and then I spent the whole weekend and wrote the entire concept. Initially it was called The Fantasy Life, and it was the idea of turning my fantasies into reality. And this was going to be a show about me coming up with ideas and then bringing them to life, and it was going to be my businesses and different like adventures and different things. And then I was looking for a building to be my office, and then when I got in the office I realized like, oh no, this is like Willy Wonka's like chocolate factory, this is the fantasy factory. And that's when it like really evolved, and then took that shot, and then again that turned into like it really evolved, because I knew the building being the main character and having foam pits and the skate park and all that would be even bigger than even comparing it to just me and my cousins acting like Big Black. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And then and then we had to figure out how to produce it, because everybody that produced it tried to make Robin Big with drama, and then eventually we began to find a rhythm, and like, no, it's more this like office setting. And then, you know, immediately the stunts started to come into play, because I got attacked by the shark in the very first season, and then that basically opened the floodgate of like all these different crazy stunts that you can begin to do to elevate the action in the show that really separated it from Robin Big, you know.
Wow, what a whirlwind.
Yeah.
How long was Fantasy Factory on the air?
And then we did 8 seasons.
8 seasons. Did it overlap Ridiculousness?
Then after a Fantasy Factory got into a rhythm, then they said, will you shoot Ridiculousness?
Okay.
So then I started shooting them both simultaneously. When I would not shoot one, I would shoot the other, or shoot them at the same time.
You killed it with all these shows, man. I mean, MTV is like... They're in the Rob Dyrdek business.
Yeah, you're the MTV dude.
It's really crazy.
But you got to think about it, how lucky I got.
Yeah,
right. Because it's not like, man, I'm, you know, the idea was I was going to build a network, America's Funniest Home Videos, and make a faster version and get that syndication money, like Vinny DeBona. You know? But what had happened was, as the show was almost canceled a handful of times, right?
Seriously?
And it was, what happened to cable was like streaming evolved and short form content evolved, and then linear cable flattened out. So it was almost like it's so hard to launch new programming on cable anymore. And then when all the dust settled, this show that we created is like this hybrid of short form content and streaming content by playing it all the time, and easy to watch, and it rated on a consistent basis. So when everything settled away, this thing gets consistent viewership, so we can take shots at other parts on the network, and it became sort of an annuity for them, which then gave me this incredible amount of leverage to then, you know, go and build a company and sell a company that produced the show, right?
Gotcha.
And then continue to negotiate and shoot so many shows that I'm able to optimize it and shoot more and more. And I'm even, you know, I'm about to start shooting 336 a year.
Wow.
And start shooting 8 a day. But I'm gonna do it in less time than I shoot 6.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I figured out a way to pull an hour out of the whole thing. It would blow your mind.